We dare not blink with this transfer portal, and we've got a hot quarterbacking commodity in the portal right now as of just a few minutes ago. Caleb Williams of Oklahoma announcing that he is entering the transfer portal, but not committed to leaving Oklahoma necessarily, but wants to weigh his options. We got Matt Zemek on the line from Trojans Wire to break this down from the USC perspective in particular. Matt, Happy New Year. It's great to see you.
Happy New Year to you. What a plot twist to start 2022.
Absolutely, Matt. So, of course, Caleb Williams. Oh, yes, his former coach, Lincoln Riley's at USC. How about that? And it just seems to make some sense, not just from that standpoint, but also just Caleb Williams having his new head coach, what would be Brent Venables, of course, a defensive-minded guy versus wanting to go to an offensive system that he's comfortable with and comfortable with getting the type of development toward the NFL that he's looking for.
It's a fascinating question, Mark. And one thought that's gone through my mind in the hour since this story broke on Monday afternoon is that you have to wonder: did Ole Miss's performance in the Sugar Bowl with the offensive coordinator, Jeff Lebby, who's, going to be Brent Venables' offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. I know that Lane Kiffin really is the offensive mastermind, but nevertheless, Lebby's still on his staff, and Dave Aranda smoked him in the Sugar Bowl. Did Caleb Williams look at that and go, maybe that's why I really need to talk to these other schools and reconsider my options? Like, I think that Caleb Williams, he has praised Brent Venables in public. He's gone on an OU podcast with Oklahoma players. He's attended OU basketball games. I mean, he played in the Alamo Bowl. Like, he's done things that would be consistent with staying at Oklahoma. So it really seems as though, as you mentioned, and as Caleb Williams himself said in his announcement on Monday, like, he's not making a clean break with Oklahoma, at least not yet, but he does want to talk to other schools, so that he can really consider his options. It really seems as though Ole Miss's performance against Dave Aranda and Baylor, to me, like, I don't know if I don't think that's the main driver, but I certainly think it's one point that Caleb Williams is certainly thinking about, which is why he wants to talk to other schools. And I'd have to imagine that, if he went to play for Lincoln Riley at OU, and LSU was in on his recruitment, among others, that he's certainly going to give Lincoln Riley a look. How much of one? That's hard to say. And obviously, there's been some plenty of buzz about Georgia being part of this, and obviously there are other schools that would instantly become a national title contender if Caleb Williams goes to that school. I mean, I've seen Texas A&M mentioned as but one of many examples. So Caleb Williams has a lot to choose from. So, like, from that standpoint, I can certainly see him wanting to keep his options open. But what he's done over the past month certainly pointed to him staying at Oklahoma. So it's just a really fascinating situation we have here.
Got Matt Zemek on the line from Trojans Wire. You see the URL right there. Please track him and his work there at trojanswire.com. Caleb Williams has entered the transfer portal, and there was a note that you just said based on his options of not just exploring what's out there, but also staying at Oklahoma, that we liken this to NFL free agency, and that's another component that we don't readily think of. But it has happened where a player has looked at his options, and that's the only way that they by rule can go look at their options, but still have the option of staying with their former team. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he's leaving, but most players that enter the transfer portal have left their school, and this may become a common theme. I think we've already seen it to a certain extent where players commit to schools for various reasons, and one of those main components is the following a coach, building a relationship with a coach, especially a quarterback and a head coach. And so Lincoln Riley is left to go to USC. Caleb Williams, it shouldn't be any shock whether he would make that decision to go to USC, because that was his original commitment to go to Oklahoma and be coached by Lincoln Riley.
Absolutely, Mark. And but one question this raises for me is, if Caleb Williams knew that Lincoln Riley is a good fit for him, why didn't he just transfer after this move? Because just from my point of view, I won't speak for the majority of college football analysts, but just from my perspective here, if it's Caleb Williams versus Jackson Dart battling for QB1 status at USC, I mean, I think Caleb Williams right now is much more advanced in his evolution. And that's not a negative commentary on Jackson Dart. I think it's a positive commentary on Caleb Williams, who, got the ball from Lincoln Riley in the middle of the season, came into that Texas game, transformed the trajectory, certainly raised the ceiling for Oklahoma's offense. Had some rocky moments, but certainly made a very positive impression. And in terms of just comparing Caleb Williams and Jackson Dart, there's one very simple difference between the two guys. Regarding tossing aside talent, removing that from the equation for a moment, Caleb Williams has been a quarterback. Jackson Dart was coached by Clay Helton in the offseason, and then Graham Harrell, during the season after Helton fired. So Caleb Williams has had the benefit of a much better coaching process than Jackson Dart has. So that alone makes Caleb Williams a lot more advanced in his evolution as a quarterback. And then, of course, if he's to go to USC, well, he would have the advantage of being able to just continue with Lincoln Riley. Jackson Dart would have to pick up Riley's system brand new. So, I mean, if that is a battle, if that battle does happen with Caleb Williams going to USC, you would think that Caleb Williams has the QB1 job. Like, he's the obvious favorite. It would be very hard for Jackson Dart to unseat him. And, we've noted here at Trojans Wire that, Pac-12 analysts, there's a particular analyst at the website Sports Pac-12. His name's Jack Coleman. He's very smart in following the conference. He predicted that if Caleb Williams does transfer, he hasn't predicted that Caleb Williams will transfer to USC, but he predicted that if Caleb Williams does transfer, that Jackson Dart's gone. Like, Jackson Dart might stick around through spring practice so that he gets the benefit of Lincoln Riley's coaching for a few months, but then he's, as this analyst predicted, once that spring ball process unfolds, Jackson Dart's going to see most likely that he's behind Caleb Williams in his overall evolution, and he's not going to wait another year. He waited behind Keaton Slovis this season, then, of course, got injured, which prevented him from logging a lot of snaps and getting a lot of experience. But so if he has to sit behind Caleb Williams this year, no, he's not going to do that if Caleb Williams transfers to USC. So this certainly has implications for Dart. But in terms of Caleb Williams' thought process, he has to think that if he goes to USC, he will be QB1. It's not going to be a huge obstacle. Maybe Jackson Dart will surprise people, but it's, Caleb Williams would obviously have the inside track. I don't think anybody can really debate that. So, if Caleb Williams is worried about being QB1 at a given program, shouldn't be really a problem for him at USC.